You will recover everything before 2026, not because the calendar is magical, not because time suddenly decided to favor you, but because there is a divine restoration already in motion that does not require your permission to begin, only your awareness to receive it. What you thought was lost was never erased, was only hidden, protected, preserved beyond the reach of those seasons that tried to destroy you. And I need you to hear this clearly, because your mind has been trained by disappointment to expect less, to brace for loss, to survive instead of anticipate restoration. But heaven does not operate on survival mode. Heaven operates on fulfillment, on completion, on return. There are moments in life when God allows subtraction, not as punishment, but as preparation. You thought the door closing meant rejection, but it was actually redirection. You thought the silence meant abandonment, but it was alignment. You thought the delay meant denial, but it was development. What left your life did not leave because it was too small. It left because you were becoming too large to carry it into what was coming next. And now that expansion has finished its work, restoration is no longer theoretical, it is imminent. You lost years. You lost momentum. You lost people who promised they would stay. You lost opportunities you prayed for and thought you mishandled. You lost finances, confidence, identity, peace, even joy. Some losses were sudden, others were slow and quiet, bleeding out over time until one day you woke up and realized you were not who you used to be. But hear this, God is not intimidated by the length of your loss. He is not overwhelmed by the complexity of what was taken. He does not need extra time to fix what took years to break. Restoration is not linear, it is decisive. There is a reason you survived what should have broken you. There is a reason you still have breath after seasons that tried to suffocate your faith. There's a reason your heart still responds to hope even after disappointment trained you to guard it. That reason is restoration. Not partial, not symbolic, not emotional only, real restoration that touches what you can see, what you can measure, what you can testify about without exaggeration. Some of what you lost was not taken by people, it was taken by pressure. Pressure to conform. Pressure to settle, pressure to rush, pressure to be understood by people who were never assigned to understand you, and under that pressure, you abandoned pieces of yourself just to survive. You silenced your intuition. You compromised your standards. You shrank your expectations. But what you laid down under pressure is now being handed back with authority. You are not receiving it as a beggar, you are reclaiming it as an heir. God is restoring your clarity. That mental fog that made every decision feel heavy is lifting. That confusion that kept you second guessing yourself is breaking. You are about to trust your discernment again, not because you became perfect, but because you became aligned. When clarity returns, speed follows. When vision sharpens, movement accelerates. You will make up for lost time not by rushing, but by moving with precision. God is restoring relationships too, but not all of them. Some connections are coming back healed, matured, restructured. Others are being replaced with people who can carry the weight of who you are now. Not everyone who knew the old version of you qualifies to access the restored version of you, and that is not arrogance, that is stewardship. Restoration requires protection, because what God restores becomes a target if it is not guarded by wisdom. You did not imagine the resistance you faced when you tried to move forward. That resistance was evidence that something valuable was attached to your obedience. The opposition was not random. The delays were not accidental. The interruptions were not meaningless. Every time you almost gave up, something was being negotiated in the unseen on your behalf. Every time you stayed when it would have been easier to quit, you were authorizing restoration without realizing it. Some of you are about to recover financially in ways that feel sudden, but are actually the result of seeds you planted long ago. Seeds of integrity when compromise would have paid faster. Seeds of generosity when you had little. Seeds of patience when you wanted immediate results. Money responds to order, and God is restoring order to your systems, your habits, your thinking. When order returns, provision follows. You are also recovering your voice. That voice that grew quiet after being misunderstood. That voice that learned silence as self-defense. That voice that stopped speaking dreams out loud because too many people watched you struggle. God is giving your voice weight again. When you speak now, it will carry authority, not noise. When you declare now, it will shift atmospheres, not just emotions. The enemy did not steal from you because you were weak, but because you were dangerous. He did not attack your peace because you were fragile, but because your peace was a weapon. He did not target your consistency because you lacked discipline, but because your consistency threatened systems that relied on your distraction. What was taken revealed what mattered most. And what mattered most is what God is restoring first. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not starting over from scratch. You are starting again with experience, with discernment, with authority, with boundaries, with wisdom you did not have before. Restoration does not rewind you to who you were. It advances you to who you were becoming before interruption tried to redefine you. Before 2026, you will look back and realize that what felt like stagnation was actually consolidation. God was gathering scattered pieces of your life, aligning timing, synchronizing connections, recalibrating your heart, so that when restoration came, it would not overwhelm you. Some blessings arrive only when you are strong enough to sustain them. Some doors open only when you're mature enough not to self-sabotage what you prayed for. You are about to regain confidence in your calling, not the loud confidence that needs validation, but the quiet confidence that moves without explanation. You will stop over-explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. You will stop shrinking your truth to make others comfortable. You will stop apologizing for growth. Restoration comes with boldness, not aggression, but clarity about who you are and who you are not. What you lost emotionally is being restored too. That joy that felt distant, that excitement that felt naive, that passion that felt risky. God is not just restoring outcomes, He is restoring capacity. The capacity to feel again, the capacity to hope again, the capacity to expect good without immediately preparing for disappointment. This is not emotional recklessness. This is healed expectation. There are things coming back to you with interest. Time will be compensated. Effort will be rewarded. Tears will not be wasted. You will understand why certain things had to leave so that better versions could return. You will understand why silence trained you to hear God more clearly. You will understand why isolation taught you self-trust. You will understand why loss revealed resilience. You did not know you carried. Do not rush this season by trying to control the outcome. Restoration is already scheduled. Your job is alignment, not anxiety. Obedience, not obsession. Faithfulness, not force. You do not have to convince God of what you lost. He saw it leave. He counted it. He recorded it. And He has not forgotten a single detail. Some doors will open without struggle. Some opportunities will find you instead of you chasing them. Some answers will come without effort. This is not luck. This is recompense. This is balance being restored. This is what happens when endurance meets divine timing. You are entering a season where what you touch will begin to respond again. Projects that stalled will move. Ideas that felt dormant will activate. Dreams that felt unrealistic will feel logical again. And as restoration unfolds, you will realize that the delay did not reduce the promise, it refined the vessel. And even now, as you are listening, something in your spirit is recognizing truth, not because it sounds good, but because it resonates with what you have been sensing quietly for months. You knew this season was shifting, you felt the pressure easing, you noticed the hunger returning, you sensed that the worst was behind you even before evidence appeared. That intuition was not random, it was alignment. Before 2026, restoration will not just be something you talk about, it will be something you manage. You will need wisdom to steward it, discipline to maintain it, discernment to protect it, and humility to remember that what returns is not just for you, but for impact beyond you. This is not the end of your story. This is not the summary of your struggle. This is the recovery phase where strength returns, vision sharpens, and movement accelerates. What was lost is coming back in forms you did not expect, through channels you did not predict in timing. That will make sense only after it arrives, and as it unfolds, you will notice that your pace is changing, your confidence is stabilizing, your focus is narrowing, and your faith is no longer asking if restoration is possible, but preparing for how to handle it when it fully manifests, and you find yourself standing in moments you once prayed for, realizing that everything you endured was positioning you for what is now unfolding. And even now, there are shifts happening beneath the surface that you cannot yet see, but will soon recognize as the beginning of everything turning in your favor. As the restoration continues to build layer by layer, step by step, moment by moment, without noise, without rush, without needing permission from your past. And as you move forward, you will begin to notice that what once felt heavy now feels manageable. What once felt distant now feels within reach. And what once felt impossible now feels inevitable as the process keeps moving and your life keeps aligning. And the recovery keeps unfolding in ways that are still forming, still shaping, still preparing you for what comes next as the momentum continues to rise and the season continues to open and the work continues to deepen and the restoration continues to advance beyond what you imagined, beyond what you planned, beyond what you thought you were ready for, as the journey carries on and the unfolding remains in motion without stopping here, without closing the chapter, without slowing the rhythm, as everything continues to move forward into what is still being revealed. And as this unfolding continues, you are going to notice that your internal dialogue is changing before your external circumstances fully do. The fear-based questions that once dominated your thinking are losing their authority. You are no longer waking up asking what might go wrong, but sensing an unfamiliar calm that tell you something is being handled beyond your control. That calm is not passivity, it is trust forming roots. It is the evidence that restoration is not just approaching you from the outside, but stabilizing you from the inside. There were seasons when you tried to move forward and everything resisted you at once. You pushed, you prayed, you planned, and still the ground felt heavy beneath your feet. That resistance trained you to endure, but it also taught you to listen. You learned the difference between effort and alignment. You learned that movement without timing creates exhaustion, but movement with timing creates momentum. That lesson is about to pay dividends because now when doors open, you will know how to walk through them without forcing them, without doubting them, without sabotaging them, with fear disguised as caution. You are stepping into a phase where your presence alone will begin to shift environments. Not because you are loud, but because you are settled. People will feel your stability before they understand your story. They will sense something grounded about you, something unshaken, something that does not need to prove itself. That is restoration manifesting as authority. Authority does not announce itself. It simply stands and everything else adjusts. Some of what you are recovering will feel strangely familiar, like something you lost and found at the same time. Opportunities will arise that mirror old dreams but come with new structure. Assignments will return but with clearer boundaries. Desires will resurface but without desperation. This is how you will know restoration is genuine. It will not come with chaos, it will come with order. You are also being restored from the damage of waiting too long in places that drained you. You stayed because you hoped things would change. You endured because you believed loyalty would be rewarded. You tolerated because you thought patience required suffering. But God is restoring your sense of timing. You will no longer confuse endurance with entrapment. You will know when to stay and when to move without guilt, without fear, without overthinking. Before, you felt like you had to explain yourself constantly, your decisions, your distance, your growth, your boundaries. Now you are entering a season where explanation is no longer required. The need to be understood is being replaced with the confidence to be aligned. This shift alone will restore enormous amounts of energy to your life. Energy that was once spent managing perceptions will now be invested in building outcomes. Your emotional strength is returning, not in the form of hardness, but resilience. You are learning how to feel without breaking, how to care without carrying what is not yours, how to love without losing yourself. That balance was learned through loss. You could not have developed without the pain you endured. Restoration does not erase the lesson, it integrates it. There are things you prayed for in desperation that are returning now in peace. At the time, you would have mishandled them. You would have attached your identity to them. You would have made them proof of your worth. But now you are prepared to receive them as tools, not trophies. That is maturity. That is stewardship. That is why the timing matters. You are also recovering your spiritual confidence. There was a time when you doubted whether you were hearing correctly, whether you missed God, whether you misunderstood the assignment. Those doubts came from disappointment, not from truth. God is restoring your ability to discern without fear, to trust your inner knowing without panic, to move without needing constant confirmation. This is not recklessness. This is alignment being reinforced as restoration unfolds. Why? You will notice that some battles simply stop presenting themselves, not because you became invisible, but because you moved beyond their jurisdiction. Certain struggles were attached to older versions of you. When you outgrew the environment, the conflict could no longer follow. Peace is not always the absence of opposition. Sometimes it is the evidence of promotion. Your patience is being rewarded in unexpected ways. People who overlooked you will begin to recognize your value. Systems that ignored you will begin to accommodate you. Paths that were blocked will begin to open naturally, not because you demanded access, but because alignment creates its own invitation. Restoration does not chase validation. Validation follows restoration. There will be moments when you realize you are no longer triggered by what once controlled your emotions. Situations that once drained you will no longer have access to your peace. Conversations that once unsettled you will no longer pull you out of character. This is not numbness, this is healing. You are not detached. You are anchored. God is also restoring your sense of purpose in subtle ways, not through dramatic announcements, but through renewed interest. Curiosity returning, motivation rising without pressure, focus sharpening without force. You will find yourself drawn again to things you thought you outgrew, only to realize you never outgrew them, you just needed rest. Restoration brings rest before it brings responsibility. Some of the clarity you are receiving now would have overwhelmed you earlier. You would have tried to act on it too quickly. You would have moved without wisdom. But now you are able to see without rushing, to plan without panic, to prepare without fear. This is evidence that the internal work has been done. Your self-trust is being rebuilt quietly. You are no longer seeking permission to be yourself. You are no longer waiting for consensus to move forward. You are no longer measuring your progress against other people's timelines. Comparison is losing its grip because alignment is taking its place. When you know where you are going, distraction loses its power. There are moments ahead where you will recognize that the restoration happening now required you to be misunderstood then. If people had fully understood you in the past, you might have stayed comfortable, you might have settled, you might have compromised. But misunderstanding forced you to separate, and separation refined you. What felt like isolation was actually incubation. You are also being restored physically and mentally. The exhaustion that lingered even after rest is lifting. The tension you carried in your body without realizing it is releasing. Your sleep will deepen. Your thoughts will slow. Your nervous system is learning safety again. This matters because restoration is not sustainable if the body remains in survival mode. As you move forward, you will become more selective, not because you are afraid, but because you are focused. Focus is the currency of restoration. Where your attention goes, growth follows. You will no longer scatter your energy trying to fix what is not yours to fix. You will invest it in what is actually assigned to you. There will be opportunities to return to places you once left in pain, not to relive the hurt, but to reclaim authority. You will walk into rooms that once intimidated you and realize they no longer hold power over you, not because the room changed, but because you did. That is restoration completing its work. You will also notice that your prayers are changing. You are no longer begging for rescue. You are asking for wisdom. You are no longer pleading for answers. You are requesting strategy. This shift in prayer language reflects a shift in entity. You are no longer trying to survive the storm. You are learning how to navigate. Some people will be surprised by your stability. They expected bitterness. They expected anger. They expected collapse. Instead, they will witness composure. That composure is not denial, it is healed perspective. You process the pain instead of avoiding it, and because you did, restoration has room to settle. As restoration continues, you will begin to see how every delay protected you from premature exposure, how every closed door prevented misalignment, how every loss redirected your path. The narrative is changing. What once felt like punishment is being reinterpreted as preparation. This reframe is not intellectual, it is experiential. Your confidence is becoming quieter but stronger. You no longer need to announce what you are doing. You no longer need to defend your choices. You no longer need to prove your growth. Results will speak. Peace will testify. Consistency will confirm. There is a sense of inevitability forming around your progress, not arrogance, but assurance. You are beginning to trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you, that what is aligned will find you, that what is restored will remain. This trust is not naive. It is informed by survival and refined by wisdom. You will also begin to see restitution in areas you had emotionally written off. Things you stopped praying about because it hurt too much to hope again will quietly resurface. Not dramatically, but gently, almost cautiously. As if restoration itself is respecting the tenderness of your heart, you are learning how to receive again. That might sound simple, but after loss, receiving can feel dangerous. You learn to guard, to minimize expectations, to prepare for disappointment. Restoration requires unlearning those defenses slowly. You are not being rushed. You are being reintroduced to abundance at a pace you can handle. Some breakthroughs will come disguised as ordinary days, no fireworks, no announcements, just small shifts that accumulate. Consistency returning, motivation stabilizing, momentum building. This is how lasting restoration works. It integrates into your life rather than interrupting it. You will realize that you are no longer chasing the future to escape the present. You are building within the present because the future no longer feels threatening. That anxiety about time running out is dissolving. You are beginning to sense that you are exactly where you need to be for what is forming next. Your intuition will become sharper, not louder. You will sense when something is off without needing proof. You will recognize alignment without needing explanation. This discernment is a restored gift. It was always there, but pain muffled it. Healing is turning the volume back to its natural level. You are also being restored from self-blame. That habit of replaying decisions, of questioning your worth, of assuming everything that went wrong was your fault. Responsibility is healthy. Self-punishment is not. You are learning the difference. This release is freeing space for creativity and vision to return. As you continue forward, you will notice that your goals are changing. You are no longer chasing impressive outcomes. You are pursuing sustainable ones. You want peace with progress, growth with balance, impact with integrity. These priorities are evidence of restoration reaching maturity. Some seasons ahead will test whether you trust what has been restored. Old patterns may try to resurface. Old fears may knock quietly, but you are no longer who you were when they last had power. You will respond differently. You will choose differently. You will move differently. And as all of this continues to unfold, layer upon layer, you will begin to sense that what is being restored is not just what you lost, but who you are becoming through the recovery. The strength, the wisdom, the clarity, the patience, the authority that is emerging is not accidental. It is forming intentionally, steadily, without rush, without pressure, as the momentum keeps building and the alignment keeps deepening and the season continues to open wider, carrying you forward into what is still developing, still unfolding, still advancing, without stopping here, without closing anything yet, as the restoration keeps moving and your journey keeps progressing and the work continues to shape what comes next. And as this progression carries on, you will begin to recognize that the restoration happening in your life is also changing how you interpret silence. Silence no longer feels like abandonment. It feels like space. Space to breathe, space to think, space to recalibrate without interference. Where you once filled every quiet moment with worry, you now allow stillness to inform you. This shift alone is restoring parts of your mind that were constantly overworked by anticipation and fear. You are becoming more comfortable with not knowing every detail. That need to predict outcomes was born from past pain, not wisdom. Now trust is replacing control. Not blind trust, but informed trust. Trust that has been tested and refined. You know now that even when things do not unfold as planned, they still unfold with purpose. This realization is stabilizing you in ways you cannot yet fully articulate, but you can feel it in how you respond instead of react. There are internal upgrades happening that do not announce themselves. Your tolerance for confusion is increasing. Your capacity to hold uncertainty without panic is expanding. You are learning that clarity often arrives after commitment, not before. This understanding is restoring forward motion to areas where hesitation once kept you stuck. You no longer need perfect conditions to move. You only need alignment. Some of the things returning to you will challenge you to receive without suspicion. You became cautious because disappointment trained you to expect withdrawal. But restoration is teaching you how to remain open without being naive. This balance is delicate, and you are learning it slowly, intentionally, without forcing yourself to trust faster than your healing allows. You will also notice that your standards are no longer negotiable. Where you once lowered them to maintain access, you now uphold them to protect peace. This is not rigidity, it is clarity. You finally understand what drains you and what sustains you. Restoration sharpens discernment, and discernment simplifies decisions. As momentum builds, you will sense a growing respect for your own time. You are no longer willing to waste it explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You are no longer investing it in situations that require you to abandon yourself. This respect is restoring your energy in ways rest alone never could. You are also becoming less reactive to external validation. Praise does not inflate you, and criticism does not dismantle you. This emotional neutrality is not detachment, it is grounding. You know who you are becoming, and that certainty anchors you even when opinions fluctuate. Restoration is stabilizing your identity. There will be moments when old memories surface unexpectedly, not to wound you again, but to show you how far you have come. You will revisit places in your mind that once carried pain and realize they no longer have authority over you. This recognition is quiet but powerful. It confirms that healing has taken root. Your creativity is returning too. Ideas that once felt blocked are beginning to flow again, not with urgency, but with ease. You are no longer creating to prove something. You are creating because expression feels natural again. This is restoration, reconnecting you to joy without pressure. You are also learning to forgive yourself, not in a dramatic moment, but in small decisions where you choose compassion over criticism. You stop replaying mistakes. You stop questioning every choice. You allow yourself to be human without punishment. This self-forgiveness is restoring confidence at a foundational level. As restoration deepens, you will find yourself less drawn to chaos. Drama feels loud, confusion feels heavy. You are not judging it, you are simply no longer compatible with it. Your nervous system has tasted peace, and it knows the difference now. This awareness is guiding your decisions more than logic ever did. You will notice that opportunities aligned with who you are becoming feel lighter, even when they require effort. And opportunities misaligned feel heavy before you even begin. This sensitivity is a gift. It is restoration tuning your intuition to alignment rather than ambition. Some of the people entering your life, now will feel familiar in a way that is hard to explain, not because you knew them before, but because they recognize you without explanation. There is ease in these connections, no performance, no proving, no shrinking. Restoration attracts resonance. Your patience with process is increasing. You no longer demand instant results to feel secure. You are willing to build slowly if it means building well. This patience is not passive, it is intentional. It allows you to make decisions from wisdom rather than urgency. There are also layers of grief leaving your body that you did not realize you were still carrying. Grief for who you thought you would be by now. Grief for timelines that did not materialize. Grief for versions of life that existed only in hope. Restoration does not erase these losses, but it integrates them into a larger story where they no longer define. You are beginning to trust your resilience, not in a hardened way, but in a grounded one. You know now that you can survive disappointment without losing yourself. That knowledge frees you to try again without fear. Restoration gives courage permission to return. You're also reclaiming your sense of direction. Where everything once felt scattered, your focus is narrowing, not limiting, but clarifying. You know what deserves your attention and what does not. This clarity is restoring efficiency to your efforts. Your relationship with effort is changing. You no longer equate struggle with value. You are learning that ease does not mean laziness and resistance does not mean importance. This redefinition is liberating you from unnecessary battles. As you continue forward, you will notice that your expectations are becoming healthier. You hope without clinging. You plan without obsessing. You anticipate without demanding. This balance is evidence that restoration is stabilizing your emotional framework. You are also becoming more honest with yourself. You no longer pretend to want things you have outgrown. You no longer chase approval disguised as opportunity. You are willing to admit when something no longer fits. This honesty is restoring integrity to your choices. Some days will feel quiet, ordinary, unremarkable, and you will realize that this normalcy is itself a gift. After seasons of chaos, stability feels like restoration. Peace becomes the baseline instead of the exception. You will also begin to notice how your language is changing. You speak with less urgency, less defensiveness, less explanation. Your words carry intention instead of reaction. This shift reflects the internal order being restored. There will be moments when you feel gratitude for what did not work out. Not because the pain was necessary, but because the perspective it gave you is invaluable. You understand now that not everything that leaves is loss. Some departures are protection. You are also learning to trust timing without interpreting delay as denial. You no longer rush to fill gaps with substitutes. You allow space for things to arrive fully formed. This patience is restoring quality to your life. Your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to productivity alone. You value rest without guilt. You honor limits without shame. This balance is restoring sustainability to your growth. As restoration continues, you will feel less pressure to reinvent yourself. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to someone true. That realization brings relief. You do not need to perform transformation. You simply need to allow alignment. You will notice that some fears dissolve without confrontation. They lose relevance as your life expands beyond them. This is how healing often works. It outgrows what once dominated it. Your capacity for hope is expanding again. Not the fragile hope that breaks easily, but a grounded hope that coexists with realism. You can acknowledge challenges without surrendering optimism. This balance is strength. You are also becoming more present, less consumed by what might happen, less haunted by what already did. You are learning to inhabit the moment without escaping it. Presence is restoring richness to your experience. There will be days when you feel a quiet confidence that does not need explanation. You will move through tasks with steadiness. You will make decisions with calm. You will sense that something fundamental has shifted. That shift is restoration settling in. And as this continues, without announcement, without urgency, without finality, you will find yourself moving forward, not because you are chasing recovery, but because recovery is carrying you, unfolding gradually, steadily, still in progress, still shaping, still aligning, still opening space for what is next, without stopping here, without closing anything yet. As the movement continues and the rhythm holds and the journey keeps unfolding into what has not fully revealed itself, but is clearly, undeniably still in motion. And as this movement carries on, you will notice that your relationship with effort is becoming more intelligent. You are no longer pushing yourself to exhaustion just to feel worthy. You are learning when to apply pressure and when to allow progress to emerge naturally. This discernment is restoring balance to your ambition. You still care deeply, but you no longer equate burnout with faithfulness or overextension with commitment. You are learning that sustainability is a form of wisdom. You are also becoming more attuned to your internal signals. When something is misaligned, you sense it early. When something is right, You feel a quiet confirmation rather than a rush of adrenaline. This internal calibration is not accidental. It is restoration fine-tuning your awareness so you can move with precision rather than impulse. There was a time when you ignored your own needs to keep the peace, to maintain access, to avoid conflict. You silenced yourself and called it humility. You tolerated discomfort and called it patience. But restoration is teaching you that self-abandonment is not virtue. You are learning how to honor yourself without becoming guarded, how to speak truth without aggression, how to protect peace without isolation. Your emotional responses are maturing. You no longer react from old wounds as quickly as you once did. There's a pause now where awareness steps in. You observe your feelings instead of being overtaken by them. This use is powerful. It is creating space for intentional response. Restoration is slowing you down in the best way. You are also beginning to notice that your faith feels different. It is quieter, deeper, less performative. You are no longer trying to convince yourself or anyone else that you believe. You simply live from a place of trust. Doubt no longer terrifies you because you understand that faith can coexist with questions. This maturity is restoring stability to your spiritual foundation. As restoration continues, you will realize that some of your greatest growth is happening in unseen places, in how you think when no one is listening, in how you treat yourself when you make a mistake, in how you handle disappointment without collapsing. These quiet victories are reshaping your character more than any public success ever could. You are also learning how to let go without resentment. Some things are not returning, and you are at peace with that. You no longer need closure from every situation. You no longer require explanations to move forward. This release is restoring lightness to your spirit. Your sense of timing is sharpening. You know when to speak and when to wait, when to act and when to observe. This timing is not learned from theory, but from experience. You have seen what happens when you rush. You have felt the cost of moving too soon. Restoration is teaching you patience that does not feel restrictive but protective. There is a growing confidence in your ability to adapt. Change no longer feels threatening. You trust yourself to navigate unfamiliar territory. This adaptability is restoring courage. You are no longer clinging to certainty to feel safe. You understand that flexibility is a form of strength. You are also rediscovering your sense of humor. Laughter is returning. Lightness is creeping back into your conversations. This joy is not force. It is organic. It emerges because tension is releasing. Restoration often shows up as joy before it shows up as outcome. Your capacity to concentrate is improving. The mental clutter that once distracted you is clearing. You can focus on one thing at a time without feeling pulled in every direction. This focus is restoring effectiveness to your actions. You are also becoming more comfortable with your own pace. You no longer measure progress by comparison. You understand that alignment cannot be rushed. This acceptance is restoring peace to your journey. There will be moments when you feel a sense of gratitude for your past self, the version of you that endured, that stayed, that tried even when outcomes were uncertain. You no longer judge that version harshly. You honor their resilience. This self-compassion is restoring wholeness. You are also noticing that your boundaries are becoming clearer. You say no without over-explaining. You say yes without guilt. This clarity is restoring autonomy to your choices. Your sense of identity is stabilizing. You are no longer defined by what you lost or what you are waiting for. You exist fully in the present. This presence is restoring confidence that does not depend on future validation. As restoration continues, you will begin to notice that you are attracting situations that match your level of self-respect. What once felt familiar but draining no longer sticks. What aligns finds you more easily. This shift is subtle but consistent. You are also learning to trust your instincts again. That inner voice that was drowned out by fear is becoming audible. You listen to it without questioning its legitimacy. This trust is restoring decisiveness. Your relationship with success is changing. You no longer chase recognition. You pursue meaning. This shift is restoring fulfillment beyond achievement. You are also becoming resilient to uncertainty. You no longer need all the answers to move forward. You trust that clarity will come with action. This trust is restoring momentum. There are days when you will notice that you are less tired than usual, even when you have done a lot. This is because your energy is no longer leaking into unnecessary worry. Restoration is conserving your strength. You are also reconnecting with curiosity. You ask questions not out of insecurity, but out of genuine interest. This curiosity is restoring creativity. Your ability to listen is improving. You hear more than words, you sense intention. This awareness is restoring discernment in relationships. You are also becoming more forgiving of others, not because they were right, but because you are free. This forgiveness is restoring peace. You are learning to celebrate small wins. Progress no longer needs to be dramatic to be valid. This appreciation is restoring motivation. Your emotional range is expanding. You can feel deeply without being overwhelmed. This balance is restoring emotional health. You are also noticing that your self-talk is kinder. You encourage yourself instead of criticizing. This kindness is restoring confidence. As restoration continues, you will feel more grounded in your values. Decisions align with who you are. This alignment is restoring integrity. You are also becoming more comfortable with rest. You understand that rest is productive. This understanding is restoring sustainability. Your patience with others is increasing. You no longer take everything personally. This perspective is restoring harmony. You are learning to let go of perfectionism. You allow progress to be imperfect. This acceptance is restoring creativity. Your relationship with time is changing. You feel less rushed. This ease is restoring presence. You're also becoming more aware of your strengths. You acknowledge them without guilt. This acknowledgement is restoring confidence. As restoration unfolds, you will find yourself more willing to take risks that align with your values. This courage is restoring growth. You are also noticing that your environment feels lighter. Your space reflects your inner order. This order is restoring clarity. You are learning to trust the process without needing constant reassurance. This trust is restoring stability. Your sense of gratitude is deepening. You appreciate what is without ignoring what is coming. This balance is restoring joy. You are also becoming more honest in your relationships. You speak your truth calmly. This honesty is restoring connection. As this journey continues, without finality, without closure, without a stopping point, the restoration keeps unfolding in layers you are still discovering, shaping responses you have not yet needed, preparing strengths you will recognize later, moving steadily, quietly, consistently forward, still in motion, still developing, still aligning, as your life continues to open into what is next, without drawing a line here, without ending the rhythm, without sealing the chapter, as everything remains in progress and the unfolding continues onward. And so as you stand in this moment, not at the end, but at a turning point, understand that what has been unfolding through every delay, every loss, every quiet rebuilding was never meant to break you, but to position you. Restoration is not arriving as a single dramatic event. It is revealing itself as a season where strength returns, vision sharpens, peace stabilizes, and purpose becomes undeniable. You are no longer chasing what was lost, because what is returning is meeting you where you are now, stronger, wiser, and more prepared than before. The journey did not disqualify you, it refined you. The waiting did not waste you, it matured you. And as you move forward, you do so carrying evidence that nothing you endured was in vain. What God restores, He restores with intention, with increase, and with permanence. You are not stepping back into your life as it was, but forward into a life aligned with who you have become, ready to steward what returns, ready to walk with confidence, and ready to witness how everything that once seemed delayed was actually aligning perfectly for this moment.